Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal episode number 343 based on novel. So let's start. The white hair flowing under the rainbow was an image that would forever be burned into the eyes of the four great elders of the Origin sect. The smell of blood in the air and the fluctuations from the collapsed Origin soul indicated that a shocking battle had occurred here. That amazing flash, even though it only lasted for a moment, had taken the life of the Nirvana cleanser cultivator that they were planning to fight to the death against. This scene caused the four of them to become transfixed. In their eyes, the white-haired man was only a figure. Although he seemed slow, in reality, he was like lightning as he charged at the youth in purple on the black spirit beast. The scream of the youth in purple revealed the fear in his heart. Although Rudy was at the illusory yin stage, due to his high status, he had never encountered such danger. Originally, he thought it would be an easy, fun trip. He thought that with the protection of Song Wuda and his status as the junior master of the Purple Dao Sect, he could do as he pleased in the rank 5 region. He could never have dreamt that this would happen. Even now, he still couldn't believe that Song Wuda had been killed by this white-haired youth like this. Not even Song Wuda's origin soul had managed to escape. The white-haired youth had become the most terrifying beast in the world to him. The figure that closed in made the youth in purple scream even louder. I'm the junior master of the Purple Dao Sect. If you kill me, my father, Lu Yun-sung, will slaughter the entire continent of Mo Luo. He was afraid. He had never been this afraid before. The shadow of the white-haired youth got closer and replaced everything in his vision. The black spirit beast trembled under him and continued to retreat. This spirit beast had already awakened its intelligence, and its fear of Wang Lin was no weaker than the fear it felt toward its master. The youth in purple seemed to have gone crazy from fear, and he shouted at the top of his lungs, "If you dare to hurt me in the slightest, my Purple Dao Sect will hunt you down for the rest of your life." His right hand touched his bag of holding and he took out a black lotus. The lotus was completely black and bloomed in a demonic way. It gave off a strange light that enveloped the youth's twisted face. Just as he was about to use the treasure his father had given him, a finger appeared before him. This finger looked gentle, but it instantly landed between his eyebrows. With a bang, the youth in purple coughed out blood and his vision blurred. 2 streams of blood flow out from his eyes. His body flew back like a kite with a broken string and popping sounds echoed from his body. Large amounts of blood mist spray out from his body and dyed the sky red. It was a shocking scene. His origin soul collapsed. At this moment, he felt his heart pounding, and it was like his body was floating in the air. His heartbeat became weaker and weaker, as if he and his heart were in 2 different worlds. The sound gradually faded until he could no longer hear it. At this moment, the direct disciples of the 4 great elders arrived, and what they saw was a bloody person blown off the black spirit beast. The person exploded into a pile of flesh and blood before falling from the sky. Inside the blood mist under the rainbow, the white-haired figure was engraved into their hearts. Shuyun stared at the figure before her and trembled slightly. She bit her lower lip and her eyes revealed a strange light. Rudy died. His body collapsed and his origin soul disappeared like his uncle's. There was a blooming black lotus and a bag of holding in Wang Lin's hand. If the person who Rudy threatened wasn't Wang Lin and instead was a native of the rank 5 region, then it might have had some effect. This would be especially true for those from sects weaker than the Purple Dao Sect. Even on impulse, they would hesitate and would only capture Rudy in the end. They wouldn't dare to kill him. After all, within the rank 5 region, the Purple Dao Sect was powerful enough to be ranked in the top 10. Most important was the name, Lu Yun-sung. He was extremely talented, and within the rank 5 region, he was extremely famous. However, all of these threats were useless before Wang Lin. A mere Lu Yun-sung and a mere Purple Dao Sect weren't qualified in Wang Lin's eyes to be a threat to his existence. Whether it was the Thunder Celestial of all heaven, the Vermilion Bird Divine Emperor, Celestial Emperor Bai Fang's cross-generation disciple, Celestial Lord Qing Shui's junior apprentice brother, or the disciple of the now-awakened Celestial Emperor Qing Lin, any one of these titles had far more weight than anything the Purple Dao Sect could compare to. Wang Lin's 1,000 years plus of cultivation experience were not something a genius like Liu Yunxong could compare to. The threat from the Purple Dao Sect was a joke. It couldn't even compare to a strand of hair on Tuo Sen's body. With a wave of his right hand, the giant black spirit beast that was trembling and had just lost its master was put away by Wang Lin. It didn't dare to resist at all. The sky was already bright and a new day had arrived with the arrival of the sun. The rainbow was no longer a blur and became clear and bright. As it crossed the sky, it gave off a gentle light. It enveloped the world, the continent, and also the vision of all the disciples of the Origin Sect. Wang Lin's white hair flowed, and with one step, he disappeared. From beginning to end, not a single cultivator from the Origin Sect saw Wang Lin's face. They only saw that indomitable figure and the long, snow-white hair. The surroundings were completely silent, and everyone's breathing became even heavier. The elders, aside from Lu Yanfei, all looked at each other in shock. In a short period of time, their despair and sadness were replaced with shock. It all happened too fast, and even now they felt like they were dreaming. He? Who is he? Why did that senior help the Origin Sect? To instantly kill Song Wuda, he? What is his cultivation level? He has white hair. Lu Yanfei softly said, then she let out a faint smile. This smile hadn't appeared since her teacher was seriously injured. Her smiling face was like a blooming flower. There was an unspeakable grace and beauty in her happiness. Her three senior apprentice brothers had thoughtful gazes as they looked at where Wang Lin disappeared. They silently pondered, but the shock in their minds made it so they were unable to calm down. After a short period of silence, the direct disciples of the elders erupted into cheers. They turned toward the rainbow and returned to the Origin Sect with the four elders. The Purple Dao Sect will not sit idly when they hear about Song Wuda and Rudy's deaths. As the four elders moved, one of the old men suppressed the shock in his heart and sent out his thoughts to the remaining three. Before teacher died, he said, "North and white hair. That senior has white hair and is perhaps the person teacher was talking about. Perhaps our Origin Sect isn't at its end yet. However, who is this senior? Is he part of our Origin Sect? I have observed the 31 mortals, but I found nothing. If he was willing to help us once, then he will help us a second time." Lu Yanfei's divine sense was determined, which caused the other three to silently ponder. It is useless to search, since this senior doesn't want us to find out, then let things happen naturally. Lu Yanfei's eyes were bright and she smiled once more. Her right hand touched her bag of holding and sent inside a force to destroy an old painting. It didn't take long for the people of the Origin Sect to return to the sect. They all scattered, filled with excitement. Lu Yanfei didn't return to her pavilion in the southern mountain but went to the herb courtyard with Xu Yun. The two women were both very charming. When they stood together, it was a really breathtaking sight. There were some disciples that saw them from a distance, and they entered a moment of trance. However, thinking about Lu Yanfei's status, they quickly awakened and went to greet them, but they were waved away by Xu Yun. It was clear that they didn't wish to be disturbed. "Teacher, he lives right here." Xu Yun's heart pounded wildly as she spoke to her teacher. Within the star fog of the rank 5 domain, there was a purple continent that was 3 times the size of the continent of Mo Luo. From afar, it was like a coiled-up fierce beast that was coldly staring at the sky. The distinct difference from the continent of Mo Luo was that there were 4 large, black towers that emitted gentle light that surrounded every corner of the continent. At this moment, the star fog suddenly began to churn, followed by a scream. A 1,000 feet tall tiger-like beast rushed out from the fog and stared at the purple continent with hatred in its eyes. It could vaguely hear the miserable cries of a female tiger coming from the continent. As it roared, it moved like lightning toward the continent. It was so fast that it closed in on the continent in the blink of an eye. It collided with the light barrier around the purple continent, causing the barrier to flicker violently. The tiger-shaped beast let out another roar and charged once more. However, at this moment, a ray of purple light charged out at an unimaginable speed. Inside it was a middle-aged man wearing a purplish gold robe. He looked very dignified and his gaze was profound. There was a hint of gloominess on his face. He was so fast that after images appeared, he instantly broke through the barrier and appeared among the stars. With a wave of his hand, purple light appeared and wrapped around the tiger. Refine. His cold voice echoed as the purple light around the fierce beast turned into a giant furnace. Mournful roars came, but they gradually disappeared. Congratulations, Sect Master, in luring another star tiger beast. It won't take long for Sect Master to refine his tiger bone sword. A laugh appeared, then an old man wearing the same purple robe appeared beside his man. I'm still missing 9. However, all the star tigers within the area are gone, so I need to go out further. The middle-aged revealed a grim smile, but before he could continue, his expression suddenly changed. He raised his right hand and reached at the void, creating a crack to his storage space. A jade flew out and immediately cracked, revealing a soul fragment. The soul fragment was in the shape of Rudy. His eyes were filled with the fear before his death and dissipated before the middle-aged man. Junior Master. The smile disappeared from the old man in purple and shock filled his eyes. The middle-aged man watched the soul fragment disappear. He didn't move at all and slowly closed his eyes. The old man beside him was shocked. He looked at the sect master and his heart trembled. He had followed this sect master for many years. He knew that the more calm the sect master was, the bigger the storm to come. Where did Rudy go? After a long time, the middle-aged man opened his eyes. There was a trace of sadness burning in his eyes, but his voice was terrifyingly calm. The old man bowed down and said respectfully, Junior Master. Junior Master went to the continent of Mo Luo. He was still in shock and hadn't calmed down yet. He couldn't understand who in the rank 5 region would dare to kill Junior Master Rudy and risk offending the Purple Dao Sect's Master Lu Yun-sung. Continent of Mo Luo, Origin Sect. Why did no one tell me about this? The middle-aged man's voice was calm, but when it landed in the old man's ears, the old man trembled. He suddenly remembered something and his face turned pale. Junior Master, he? As a cultivator, he still lusted for beauties and was arrogant. He used his status as the junior master of the Purple Dao Sect and ruined quite a few female disciples of various sects. He even did vicious things, such as sucking their originian energy. Without waiting for the old man to finish, the middle-aged man shook his head and seemed to mutter to himself. Sect Master, the old man's face was pale. Who went with him to continent of Mo Luo? It should have been Song Wuda. That child grew up under Song Wuda's care. Perhaps to him, Song Wuda was like a second father. He went to the continent of Mo Luo because he is after Lu Yanfei of the Origin Sect. He was taking advantage of the fact that that old bag of bones died and wanted to make the Origin Sect his inner palace. The old man silently pondered. As far as he knew, everything the sect master said was true. The middle-aged man raised his head and looked at the star fog before him. After silently looking for a bit, he turned and walked toward the purple continent. That useless child, he is dead, so now there is one less scourge in the world. However, I'm still his father. Since he liked that Lu Yanfei girl, then let that little girl die with him. As for the man that killed him, he can be buried with him as well, the middle-aged man said without any emotion in his voice. He wasn't like this before, this figure was more bleak. The old man's expression became even more pale. After hesitating for a while, he clenched his teeth and said, Sect Master, before the Junior Master left, this old man heard Song Wuda say that the Junior Master was going to the Purple Cloud Sea to take the Heaven Yin flag that the Purple Dao Sect left there. After taking Lu Yanfei's origin soul, he was going to use all the female origin souls he collected to feed a Yin Celestial. The middle-aged man's figure suddenly stopped and the calmness in his eyes collapsed. A monstrous wrath revealed itself, but a sense of fear and panic also filled his body. Ungrateful child. Continent of Mo Luo, Origin Sect. Lu Yanfei looked silently at the ordinary house. After hesitating a bit, she walked into the courtyard. Xu Yun followed, and she was very tense. She could clearly hear her heart beating rapidly. Wang Lin's door was closed. Lu Yanfei and Xu Yun stood outside the door and became silent. After a long time, Lu Yanfei bit her lower lip and softly said, Is Senior here? Not here. A calm voice came out from the house and entered their ears. They were startled by it as they didn't think they would get a response like this. In truth, a very long time ago in the Alliance star system, a woman also asked this question and also got this answer. After all, whether it was the original body or the avatar, both were Wang Lin. Lu Yanfei let out a smile that was very beautiful. She bowed toward the house and softly said, "Teacher once had an uncle master named Lu Zihao. According to teacher, Grand Uncle Master Lu Zihao was obsessed with Dao. Aside from when he went missing, he had never left the continent of Mo Luo. He never even went to the main sect or had many friends. Not many people in the origin sect even remember him due to time. Even my 3 senior apprentice brothers have never seen him. Junior only saw a portrait of him, and it was teacher who showed it to me. He gave me the portrait. Because this Grand Uncle Master Lu is an ancestor of my Lu family. This portrait was far too old and was tattered. On the way back just now, it was destroyed." After saying all of this, Lu Yanfei respectfully left with a smile. Xu Yun was confused by her teacher's words. She had no idea why her teacher had said those things. Wang Lin sat on the bed and stared at the black lotus in his right hand. He raised his head and his eyes shined brightly. His gaze seemed to be able to penetrate the house and landed on the departing Lu Yanfei. Lu Yanfei's body trembled, but she didn't stop. She maintained her calmness and walked out of the courtyard. What a clever woman! Wang Lin withdrew his gaze. Aside from when she talked to him on the mountain, they had no other contact. Yet this woman was unexpectedly able to come up with such an amazing analysis just from the report from her disciple, their conversion on the mountain, and him killing Song Wuda and Rudy. Xu Yun wasn't able to understand her words, but with Wang Lin's cunning, he clearly understood. Lu Yanfei was certain he was the white-haired person, and in her mind, for someone of his cultivation level to hide in the origin sect meant that he was either after something in the origin sect or was hiding from enemies. However, Lu Yanfei couldn't think of anything he would want, so she became more certain about hiding from enemies. Therefore, if Wang Lin wanted to continue to stay in the origin sect, he needed an identity to not cause any suspicion. What Lu Yanfei just said was giving Wang Lin such an identity. As for Wang Lin's enemies, she obviously had to choose to ignore them. Wang Lin had met countless people in his life, but not many women this intelligent. Different from Liu Mai's ever-changing mood, different from Red Butterfly's arrogance, different from Li Muwen's gentleness. This was wisdom, an unmatched wisdom. After pondering a bit, Wang Lin revealed a smile and muttered, "Lu Zihao. This identity will allow me to take root in the Cloud Sea Star system." The reason Wang Lin paid so much attention to his identity was due to his experience in all heaven. Wang Lin didn't notice it then, and in the end his identity was transparent to all the powerful cultivators. This caused him a lot of inconvenience. After all, they would all have the thought of rejecting those that didn't belong to their system. In particular, with his cultivation level, it was difficult to deal with the issue of his identity. Although this didn't solve the issue perfectly, it did give him a path to resolving it. No longer thinking about this, Wang Lin placed his right hand on the black lotus, then his divine sense spread out and he began studying it. If this black lotus was only a treasure, he wouldn't pay so much attention to it. However, as he checked it with his divine sense, he was surprised to find that this lotus was a real plant. A few simple law formations were added as a seal. This Cloud Sea Star system is strange to have a naturally formed treasure like this. If the seal on the lotus is broken, then it can form a powerful protection. It is indeed interesting. Wang Lin put the lotus down after examining it and picked up the bag of holding from the youth in purple. The youth in purple had a lot of miscellaneous things inside the bag. Aside from the scattered weapons and pills, there were 3 things that caught Wang Lin's attention. A completely purple bottle, a small golden flag, and an incense stick the side of a baby's arm. As for celestial jades, there were very few, less than 100 pieces. Unfortunately, after reaching the Nirvana cleanser stage, one no longer uses a bag of holding. A self-open storage space is impossible for outsider to find even after death. Otherwise, that Nirvana cleanser cultivator might have had some good treasures and pills for me. Wang Lin shook his head as he picked up the golden flag. After scanning it with his divine sense, his expression became gloomy. This small flag was filled with yin energy. As Wang Lin's divine sense spread through it, he immediately found the yin souls of over 100 women. These women were all beautiful, and some of them were incomparable. However, these women all looked miserable, as they were sealed inside and couldn't escape. There was the soul of a snake inside that seemed to be devouring these women. The moment Wang Lin's divine sense swept by, it seemed to have been startled awake from its sleep and released a terrifying aura. Even Wang Lin's eyes narrowed when he felt this aura. Wang Lin's mind was shaken and his divine sense retreated from the attack of the beast soul. He stared at the golden flag and his pupils shrank. Aura of extreme yin. Wang Lin suddenly stood up, and his calmness was disturbed. A monstrous surge of emotion hit him and he took a few deep breaths. Unfortunately, it is not complete, there is only a trace of extreme yin. However, the method of breathing it is completely wrong. It can't be compared to the extreme yang the All-Seer created by using Bai Wei. This extreme yin is too poor in quality in comparison. However, it is still a sliver of extreme yin. Wang Lin touched the spot between his eyebrows. After the heaven-defying bead was complete with the 5 elements, it needed yin and yang. He had obtained the extreme yang form by Wei and was only lacking the extreme yin to complete the heaven-defying bead the second time. Holding the small golden flag, Wang Lin's eyes closed slowly. His eyes shined as he pondered. To use women's souls to nourish extreme yin is completely wrong. Back then, the All-Seer used Bai Wei's extreme yin body and extracted the extreme yang during its peak. That's the correct method. In order to obtain a complete extreme yin, one must obtain it at the peak of extreme yang. After looking at the golden flag, Wang Lin shook his head. At a glance, he could see that all those numerous female yin souls were added in later on, and it hadn't been a long time. This really is nonsense. Wang Lin waved his right hand and a storm set off inside the golden flag. His divine sense smashed into the formations that were trapping those women's souls and broke them. The moment the formations shattered, the miserable souls flew out, and their eyes were filled with confusion. However, they were all talented people within their sects before they were killed and sealed inside the flag by Rudy, so they quickly regained their sanity and then silently bowed toward Wang Lin. They showed hints of bitterness, liberation, and gratitude as they dissipated. What awaited them perhaps was reincarnation into another life or perhaps nothing. Staring at these souls dissipate, Wang Lin became silent. It didn't take long for all the souls to disappear, leaving only the extreme yin soul. This extreme yin let out a roar and charged out the moment those women's souls disappeared, as if it wanted to escape as well. Just as it peeked out, Wang Lin's eyes lit up and his left hand formed a restriction. It landed on the golden flag. Then there was a flash of blue light. The extreme yin soul seemed to smash into an iron plate and was pushed back as it roared. Wang Lin completely ignored it as his left hand formed more restrictions that landed on the golden flag. He completely sealed it before putting it away. Not only is the method to raise this extreme yin not correct, it's also not complete. Since this belonged to Rudy, then there must be more clues at the Purple Dao Sect. After pondering for a bit, Wang Lin picked up the purple bottle. This jade bottle was warm and there was heat cycling inside. There was a cycle of origin energy inside that formed an eternal rotation. Wang Lin's divine sense surrounded the bottle. Under the effect of his divine sense, the bottle slowly became transparent, and he clearly saw 3 pills that were slowly rotating with the origin energy inside. The 3 pills were roughly the same size and all gave off a purple glow. There was a fierce aura coming from within them. After withdrawing his divine sense, Wang Lin's gaze landed on the 3rd item, which was an incense stick the size of a baby's arm. He wasn't unfamiliar with this item. Back in the Alliance, he saw this in the memories of the mosquito beast. The cultivators of the Cloud Sea had used this incense to confuse the mosquito beasts and lure them away from the 4 divine sect. Time slowly passed and the rainy season passed, ushering the sun to the continent of Mo Luo. Wang Lin seemed to have grown accustomed to the life in the Origin sect and spent all his time learning alchemy. Xu Yun was very respectful toward this person named Seng Nyo that was living next to her. Although Wang Lin hadn't admitted it yet, Xu Yun's female intuition told her that Zheng Niu was the white-haired man. Whenever she thought of Wang Lin's figure and graceful movement, she would tense up. At this moment, she stared at Wang Lin with confusion. This is Ning Shui grass. It is an item to help create pills. Most pills in my origin sect require this. When a cultivator in the Cloud Sea reached a certain cultivation level, they would gain a certain degree of understanding of alchemy. This had a lot to do with the alchemy methods of the Cloud Sea. What puzzled her was that Zheng Niu didn't know any of what was considered common sense. For Wang Lin to refine pills, he would first have to memorize the names and effects of all the herbs. Some of the herbs that he knew from the Alliance had different names here, so Xu Yun had become a target for Wang Lin's questions. This is Ink Cloud Herb, a key component of the Cloud Deficiency Pill. Wang Lin's expression was cold and calm. He had used a very short period of time to memorize all the herbs in this garden. Wang Lin looked around the garden and asked, "Is there any mist flower?" The jade he saw in the Daoist temple said that in order to refine a rank 6 or higher pill, on top of the beast soul, there were 3 even more important herbs. One of those herbs was the mist flower. The mist flower can only grow in continents that are shrouded in the star fog. Rumor has it that the more dense the fog, the more mist flowers there are. In the origin sect, I only know of 3 dried mist flowers, and they are all with Uncle Master Li. After Xu Yun finished explaining, she added one more thing. Uncle Master Li's alchemy skill is considered unmatched in the origin sect. Wang Lin nodded and no longer paid any attention to Xu Yun. Instead, he gathered some herbs based on the method of alchemy he had read and returned to the house. Seeing Wang Lin take the herbs, Xu Yun felt her heart ache, but she didn't dare to show it on her face. As Wang Lin walked back to his room, Xu Yun quickly said, This requires you to go to the alchemy room in the eastern courtyard. Not only is there a pill furnace there, but there are also earth, fire and protection formations. That way even if the furnace explodes there will be no danger. No need. Wang Lin didn't turn around as he walked into the room. It wasn't until Wang Lin left that Xu Yun stomped her foot and became filled with dissatisfaction. Most of the herbs in the garden were things she had spent a lot of effort gathering. Some had been given to her by her master after her master found them while exploring dangerous wild continents. It can be said that most of the herb in the garden were Xu Yun and her master's private properties. The disciples of the sect were all aware of this and wouldn't dare to come here for herbs. Xu Yun valued these herbs greatly. However, she was helpless as she watched Wang Lin take them away. He didn't even listen to her and was going to refine without going to the alchemy room. Especially considering how he didn't even know the names of some of these herbs, it was obvious this was the first time he was refining. Once the pill exploded, not only would the house be destroyed, but even the garden would be affected. Xu Yun stomped her feet but didn't dare to go up to stop him. HMPH, not going to the alchemy room means he must have his own pill furnace. He only knows how to use his high cultivation to bully a junior like me. Bully. The more Xu Yun thought, the more angry she became. She simply sat down outside and began to wait. When the pill exploded, she would need to do her best to protect the herbs. A large amount of the goodwill she previously had toward Wang Lin had also dissipated. Arrogant, arrogant. When Xu Yun thought of Wang Lin's expression, she became even more angry. Although alchemy has some relation with cultivation, it doesn't have much effect. What it requires is experience and countless attempts. No matter how high the cultivation level, the success rate of refining for the first time won't be high. Xu Yun frowned as she focused herself and helplessly stood guard. Wang Lin didn't pay attention to Xu Yun's dissatisfaction. After returning to the room, he sat down and waved his hand. All the herbs he had picked floated in the air. His left eye lit up and flames immediately began burning in his left eye. Alchemy doesn't necessarily need a pill furnace. A pill furnace was used to not let any of the medication escape and to better condense heat for the pill to take shape. None of this was a problem for Wang Lin. The fire of the world moved as he willed. At this moment, white flames appeared and circled around Wang Lin. The fire began to condense until it was a ball of fire. Wang Lin's gaze was calm as his right hand reached out. All the herbs in the air began to separate into different portions. One part went to the side and one part went into the fireball. This was Wang Lin's first time refining a pill in the Cloud Sea. Although it was only a rank 3 pill, Wang Lin was still very serious. He stared at the fireball and his gaze penetrated inside. Those herbs rapidly melted inside the fireball and became crumbs. However, with Wang Lin's control of fire, they didn't even turn to ash but began fusing. They absorbed each other's unique medical attribute and began to fuse. Shortly after, Wang Lin's right hand reached out and a storage space appeared. A ray of black light flew out into Wang Lin's hand. There was a tadpole-like spirit beast soul inside the black light. This was Rudy's beast. This beast was very arrogant when it followed Rudy. It would often cruelly devour mortals and injured cultivators. It enjoyed the dry sweetness of blood and flesh in its mouth. However, at this moment, the beast soul was trembling in fear and constantly roaring. It wanted to break out from Wang Lin's palm, but no matter how much it struggled, it was a pointless endeavor. As Wang Lin waved his right hand, the beast soul let out a miserable scream and fused with the pill. Soon, a medical fragrance began to spread out inside the room. Just at this moment, Wang Lin frowned as his right hand reached into the fireball and grabbed the pill. A large portion on the beast soul was immediately pulled out. The moment Wang Lin's right hand left the fireball, the half-complete pill trembled and collapsed. Then a destructive force began to spread out. However, it was stopped by the fireball that wrapped around it. It let out some muffled sounds but didn't break the fireball. Pill explosion. Outside the house, Shuyun heard the muffled screams and immediately stood up. She was very tense. However, after waiting for a while, she still didn't encounter the explosion. All she saw was a gloomy Wang Lin walking out and taking even more herbs. Shuyun finally reacted and immediately began stomping her foot. She wanted to get some justice from Wang Lin, but thinking about his gloomy expression just now, she became afraid. She could only complain in her heart. What a bully! HMPH, that pill will definitely explode this time as well. This video will end here.